Would you like to play a game? I would. So I've been having a bit of a move around of stuff in the bedroom, and one of the corners that I'm dealing with is like long-term languishing projects. I think probably correctly termed UFOs, so just unfinished objects, as opposed to the active whips. So if you've seen any of my previous videos about stuff, you might have seen that I did the like a whip busting challenge. I did it in 3 parts over 6 weeks, where I gathered together all of the projects that I found on the living room floor, which tends to be where I'm actively working on projects, and tried to get that down to a reasonable number. I am going through my big box of UFOs. It's massive. Of course it's massive. So this tends to be projects that I've put down and they've languished a little bit. And so I'm going to play frog or finish, so deciding whether I'm going to frog the project, abandon it in some other way, I guess, because I have something else that I sometimes do with like my swatches and stuff. If you've seen my swatch video, then there's that. I think I've got a proper YouTuber now, and it's like reference all my other videos. Am I going to finish the project, abandon it, frog it? What am I going to do with it? And also, we're coming up to Finish It February, which will follow from Friday, the first day of February, which is Saturday, but lots of F's in this video. So let's F and get started. Yeah, so I might, depending on what is in there, add a couple of these projects to Finish It February. I genuinely don't know a lot of what's in here because it's been sat for a while. So I have seen a couple of bits around the top, but there is at least one which I saw and I was like, I don't know that I remember what project it is. Like what the project is, what the pattern was, or any of it. And also thinking that maybe it's going to be in the frog category. But that's only one of them. So, and I think I've got rid of all of just empty project bags. I do not know. Start with this, which I had a quick peek in just to see if it was a project bag or not. And this is patches for my battle jacket. So I wasn't keen on wearing a battle jacket. If you're not like a heavy metal person, you might not be familiar with the term. It's where you get a denim jacket and you cut the sleeves off and you sew loads of band patches all over it to say what bands you like. Iron Maiden, or this is a Guns N' Roses one. We've got some Def Leppard and Nightwish apparently. Judas Priest. So yeah, I put together a battle jacket when I was like a teenager, maybe 16. But they're not very warm. But they're kind of warm enough that I want to take it off necessarily like during a gig. But then they're also quite bulky, so you can't easily and they don't have sleeves, so you can't tie them around your waist. It was as a garment, it was pretty unpractical for me. So I didn't like it. So I took all the patches off. I've donated the jacket. And then I've got like the badges, I think. These are some little studs which I got. The skulls. I think I got these in a haberdashery ages ago. Yeah. They're skulls. And then they've got these little spikes on the back. So you poke them through the fabric and then you bend it. And there's, I think, 5 in there. Maybe 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got 6 little skulls. I've got a big handful of patches. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to attach these to. I've got one on a knitted hat, and I've got one on a regular hoodie that had a logo, so I just covered the logo with a Hasty Fixie patch. But I saw my mate John, who plays Eddie in one of the Iron Maiden tribute bands. Like he'll dress up and come out, and he's like this really massively tall guy. And you know how people look at people that have got their same like body types for inspiration. So obviously, as a 5 foot tall petite woman, the 6 foot 1 to 4, I don't know. He's just very, very tall. He might be 6'7" for all I know. Very, very tall man that's very broad with blonde hair. That's obviously my style inspo. But he had a pair of those long denim shorts when they're like sort of just above the knee. And I bought a pair of those years and years ago in Primark. I think they may even be... They are. I got these ones ages ago. and I liked how his patches looked. So I'm going to take these shorts, I'm going to put these patches on them, and it's going to be great for any gigs in the summer, which is probably when I would be wearing these. And I think I'm just fine to have it as a summer garment. So that is going to go on finish, and that might even go finish it February, because I think that won't necessarily take too long. The only downside about saying that, like, yeah, I'm going to finish it, I'm going to do it entirely, is that one of the really nice things about building up a pair of, like, building up a battle jacket isn't to just go online and buy, like, 20 patches and put them all on and be done. It's to, like, build it up over time. And I noticed in there I had, like, a Nightwish patch, and I'm not that into Nightwish. So it's probably going to be, like, a little bit of a process of going through, which I can do this month. I can do that as part of Finish It February and part of, like, attaching them to the shorts. But there might be a certain amount of gathering stuff more later on, like as I go to more gigs and kind of organically building it up. So in that way, some of those, the project that is truly never finished. But it might also be that I don't necessarily want to build them up from nothing to complete in the same bit. So yeah, and there might be some that don't get put on this February, but I think I can probably take the majority and then just have the ones that are tricky decisions. I can go through a bit, and I think I'm probably at the point in my life where I can give away some of the patches that I don't want. Probably that Nightwish one. I don't have anything against them, I just don't really listen to them that much. Okay, project number 1, probably going to be finished in February. Project number 2 is this. This is a mending project. I make no promises about when this is going to be done, because mending is something I kind of end up being in the mood to do. The zip on this is broken. This is a hoodie which I bought. Like, it's fully lost the little zippy bit, so it's got the teeth on either side, but it doesn't have the pull. So the way that I am thinking to repair this is to fully take the zip out, put a new one in. I have got zips, so it's not necessarily a problem. I can handle machine stitch it. If I machine stitch it, it'll take like 10 minutes. But yeah, that's just mending. I bought this jumper from TK Maxx when I was about 18 years old, because I was working in a shop and it didn't really have much heating because it was a really, really tiny shop, and so we had the door open for customers to come in. And I was cold, so I took a little break and went to TK Maxx and bought the first black jumper-like thing that I could find, but it's got fun thumb holes, which is nice. And I haven't necessarily always been a fan of the neckline. It's a bit unusual, so it's like, it does up, but it's quite big, so it sort of sits out here. So you can tuck a scarf into it, or I've had times when I've like wrapped it harder and then just tucked it around. So yeah, it's quite an unusual piece. It's a fleece, so it's nice and warm. It would be nice to have this back in circulation. So definitely going to keep that, and it's got nice memories with it. So this is a massive pair of velvet trousers. I bought these from the local scrap store, so just as fabric, because I just wanted some black velvet. But I noticed that they were trousers, and they also, because I'm a sucker for the sentimental, they're from Carry On Costumes, and they've got the name Nathan written in them. And I really like the idea of not cutting into a garment if it's whole and just using it for fabric. I used to more. I think now I'm in a space where I don't want to be doing that as much. Like, if the garment exists to me, and other people in different places in the sewing journey will do different things. But if it exists as a garment, I quite like leaving it as a garment. So my thought was I would resize these. I think I might just bring the waist in and leave the legs super wide. So I might just do something quite simple, like adding a drawstring. Actually, how too big are these? I'm only wearing little shorts, so I don't want to, like... I'm wearing pyjama shorts. I mean, I got dressed hours ago. I'm not wearing a hoodie over pyjamas. I don't want to flash anything, but yeah. So they're like that much too big. So if I had a drawstring in them, yeah, they might be quite like... They might be alright. Yeah, so I'll stabilise the waistband and I'll put a drawstring in. I guess theoretically I should probably bring them all the way up to here, but I think that'll just look lame. I think that'll give me a little bit too much granny chic for my personal sense of style, so they're going to have to stay low and potentially just manage with a dropped crotch, and a little bit long in the leg, but that's okay. It's very like, is it the Y2K style that is? But yeah. So I'm thinking it's going to have a stabilised waistband and a drawstring, I think, and probably add some pockets. So that is going to stay in the finish, but I don't think that's going to go into finish in February. I think I'm going to have to think about it a little bit harder and just make sure that I'm using the correct materials for the drawstrings and stuff like that. So you can stay in the whips, but you're going to sit a little bit lower down in the pile. This is an envelope of scrap fabrics. So one of my friends was doing a lot of sewing, I wasn't doing a lot of sewing, and I said, do you have any scrap fabrics I can use to make my dog bandanas? So let's have a little look at what we've got and see what I want to do with the fabrics. I said specifically Halloween because she's been getting a lot of novelty Halloween fabrics, and some of them I did make into bandanas. So this one already became a bandana. It was like a Halloweeny fabric, so that's just a little scrap. I think that can just go in the scraps pile. So she just posted me a nice little bit of it. We've got this little bit of stretchy fabric. I like it. It's definitely staying. I don't know how many more bandanas my dog needs. Like, she doesn't like them. They serve no practical purpose, and she's got like 3 already. Oh, this is already in a triangle. Okay, this is a dog bandana. I just need to put it in the drawer. It's not got any hem or anything, but it is also just like, I mean, it'd probably be a cape on her. She's quite little. Yeah, probably cover like her whole back. I have a chihuahua. A really small one. Okay, maybe it just needs a little, maybe you need to cut it off there or something. Or I could just tie it like that and give it like a nice long tie. We'll try it on her, but that's basically already done. So that one's going to be a dog bandana. And then she can wear it if she comes to any more Pride events, which she likes because everyone pets her. And they generally end up not being too loud, unlike other protests, which I suspect she wouldn't enjoy. So that one's going to go down there. The Starbucks fabric is very funny. Like, the only thing I would use it for is a dog bandana, but also I'm not that into Starbucks. I think it's been enough time that if I just give this away, that's okay. So I'm going to ask my friend Vicky if she wants this one. Yeah. A little silly one is this. Oh, that's about the right size as well if I just triangle it. Actually, is that... Some of them were too small. They don't necessarily go around her neck. Like you want to tie it securely so that it doesn't just fall off. You know what? It doesn't look great as a dog bandana. That's just going to go in the scraps pile. It's just kind of some silly skull fabric. And then that will go and be a lining for something or whatever. And this one I know I'm not keen on, which is this bear fabric, and it's kind of like a short velvet. Care Bears. Upside down Care Bears. Yeah, not into it, no nostalgia, so that one I'm going to offer to Vicky as well. Feels quite nice to be getting rid of those ones, actually. Chili peppers. Silly, it's just going to go in scrap fabric. I'm not going to make her a bandana out of that, and it looks like I've got 2 bits of that. Just kind of scraps off stuff. And I think it pretty much is all stretch fabric. This hasn't got much stretch, but it is still a stretch knit. And coffee is my fossil fuel. Dinosaurs having cups of coffee, which is very silly. And I think I will put it into my own scraps pile, but that one might end up with Vicky as well. She likes sewing. She's got some slightly different like preferences and interests than me. So that's cool. So that is just for stash. That is to give away. And then that is a singular project, which I think we can put that into the finish it February pile of possibly just tie on dog and it's done and then put into the drawer as like a finished object, or to slightly trim and then have it as a finished object. So that is for the scrapped pile. And we now have an empty envelope. Neat. Cool. What's next? This is an underwear project which did not go well, and this is another underwear project. I'm not going to wave them on screen. It's too much for these specific ones. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But yeah, these specific ones I don't think I want to share so publicly. But yeah, one of them is made with wool and it's felted, so that needs a little bit of fixing. I think that's easy enough to fix, not necessarily a Fix It February project. And the other one I think I'm going to have another go at fixing as well. It was kind of a proof of concept thing, and the fit isn't correct over the genital area. And that's the reason I don't want to show it, is to be like, oh yeah, it doesn't quite get to the right curves of the bits. Yeah, it doesn't fit me fanny properly. So yeah, I think that one is going to stay on like the fixing because it's thinking about it. But yeah. Ooh, curious. This is a curiosity. So this is a skirt I made, and I think this is someone was talking about it, I can't remember her name. But she said it was like a because Bernadette Banner did it. I think this is like a history bounding thing, and I am not a history bounder. So I made this skirt, and it's got some quite cool like clown energy about it. And it was mostly as a way to use this fabric, which I thought was very fun and had like cool history vibes about it. And this fabric should not go through the washing machine. It's upholstery fabric and was not designed for clothes. So I put it around the top and the bottom, and then I lined the satiny bit. So like this is just with like cotton curtain fabric. All of the dye is run, so a lot of things are kind of stained a bit pinkish, which isn't necessarily a problem, but also non-ideal. The fabric's puckered in different ways, so the waistband's okay, because it's had like its pre-wash from being... it's been washed. Oh, and it's not even like it was like a wider piece, and I was cutting strips out of it, which is apparently the old-fashioned way of making silk ribbon. You'd like pull out some of the warp threads, and then you'd have like the ladders, and you do it, and then you get like the little fringy bits on either side. But in this case, it was just me cutting up some probably like polyestery upholstery fabric of like, do you have a chair with this down the back, like a wooden dining room table chair? That's what the fabric is. So it's just kind of been a nightmare. It has pockets, so we get that, and I have worn it, but I find it really hard to style. It's not the right style for me. And at my latest iteration, I was adding this ribbon around the bottom because I'd used some like ironing glue interfacey web stuff at the bottom, and like that hadn't worked to stop it fraying. So I was sewing this ribbon on to essentially like bind the edge, because this happened in the washing machine, which is non-ideal because it rips into the fabric, and I'd kind of cut it quite carefully. So, yeah, I don't love this skirt all that much, and it has also been like a nightmare, and it doesn't fit well, and it doesn't look good when it's on either. So I think this is something which needs to not exist in its current form. I don't think this should be a skirt. Part of what I liked about it was that it was giving some kind of court jester vibes, sort of a bloomers situation. So I don't know how much like fabric I could reclaim back out of like the crotch area, or like where it might sit, but maybe I could have these as like court jester shorts because I'm a clown. Yeah, so in its current iteration it's kind of more frog, although it's not knitted, it's sewn. But yeah, I don't think this is going to be finished in its current form. I don't even necessarily have the right amount of ribbon for this, so it was going to be easing it as well. It was just one tried, and one failed, and that's okay. So yeah, I think I'm gonna maybe try and turn them into shorts. So we've got one more little piece of experiment for these. Because I think the waistband, now that it's all been completely lined with the buttons on it and stuff, would kind of be okay for that sort of thing. But as a regular skirt, no. It's not been in my wardrobe for a long time, and I have not missed it. I do not think that there is any space for it in my wardrobe at this time. Not physically, but like emotionally. So yeah, we'll see if we can kind of culot those a bit. See if there's enough like inch to try and just move the safety pins around. So that might actually be a finish of February. I think it would be really cathartic to do that. And then if I don't finish it in February, it might just go in the fabric stash and I can just reclaim the fabric back out of it. I've got this antique gold satin, I've got this nightmare fuel, and I've got the red satin, which is nice. So yeah, we'll give it one more chance. This is a random piece of strap. I do not know why it's here. Stash, I guess. There's also a random bit of zip, and I'm wondering if that's coming off the other project that I mentioned. God, there's so many things in here. This is Love Blanket 2. So during the pandemic, actually no, prior to it, in 2018, Bestie and I made a blanket together, and we knitted the squares. We shared out a pack that had like different coloured squares, and she knitted all of the yellow and the orange because those are kind of her colours, and I did all of the dark purple and the burgundy because those are my colours. And we found some variegated yarn in Poundland, which kind of worked with it. So we did a few of those each, and we put all these squares together. She sewed them together and they were hers, and then we decided we were going to make me a blanket. So we made these central grey sort of triangles, and then we were going to do different colours, strips around it in a kind of log cabin. So we've both done our central grey bit. I completed all of mine fully years ago. This has been sat here for like 3 years waiting. So I've done the pink, the blue, the red, and the like pastel multicolour, I think is what we called it. This is one of the earliest things like in my notebook from when I made a knitting notebook in like 2021 of patterns. This is one of the earliest things in there. She still hasn't finished hers. So I think she's done like the orange and the purple, and then she's got 2 more. And they've just been sat there, and every now and then I nag her. So let's just say this probably isn't going to be in Finish It February unless she decides to put it in her own Finish It February. So that's going to go in with the velvet trousers as a yes, but not right now. This is an interesting one to come back to. So I've got the pattern here. So Debbie Stoller's Happy Hooker book, which taught me how to crochet. Well, my sister-in-law showed me the basics and then bought me this. I am making the preppy jacket. Prepster. Preppy spring jacket. This is this one. I got some yarn which was kind of tweedy, and I thought that'll make a nice formal structured jacket. For some reason I always want to make them in green, so I've been working through this crochet pattern. So these are the front pieces, and it's got like a pocket hole in it, so it's got like pocket flaps, and I am on Sleeve Island with it. And part of the reason I ended up on Sleeve Island is because I ran out of yarn. So I was working them 2 at a time, and this is what I've got so far. So I'm part way up the cuff, and then I ran out of these yarns as well, and then I thought, you know what, this is a mixture of synthetic and wool. I make yarn now. I'll spin some. So I've spun up this yarn, which I think is quite a nice little, not a dupe, but like it's quite complementary, I think, to the original colour. There's bits of yellow, bits of green, and it's on a white base. I think this is the Southdown fleece. And I stalled with it because I thought if I start crocheting with this, I'm going to then immediately have to stop and spin more yarn. And at the time that was a very daunting prospect. Now I'm much better at spinning. and I feel like I've got more time to spin because I'm like sort of willing to give spinning a little bit more time and dedication. Oh look, I did a couple of other little bits. So yeah, this is what I've got for yarn. And then I've also got this really dark one, which I thought would be good for like around the lapel and then like around the pocket and stuff, so it kind of has a little bit of that traditional Chanel look. I think I'm going to both frog and finish this. I'm really unhappy with how different these are as far as like cuffs and stuff go, and I did not really like the green boucle yarn. It also means that it's 100% synthetic on this part. I think the whole project is already a little bit on the paler side to what I normally want, and this just makes it all paler. So I think I'm going to frog out these green sections. I'm going to crochet and spin more yarn, and I've got the pattern so I know what I'm doing. I think I'm just going to pull it all the way back to where I've got this cuff, and then start again doing this much. It's going to be a slow burn, so this isn't going to be like a finish it, but I'm gonna frog it back. And then I've still got a reasonable amount of this dark blue. I don't think enough to do both sleeves, and it is 100% synthetic, but I have got that as my like finishing option. I could add more stripes in, I guess, or I could make this little stripe a little bit wider, but I think I am just going to keep going with my original plan for using this as accents. Yeah, so I'm gonna frog back the sleeves. It's been long enough now that I no longer feel emotionally attached to the work that I did, and I think that's the distance that it needed. So yeah, not going to finish it February. It's going to take a long time to spin the yarn, and I don't want to put any stupid deadlines on it. But that's going to kind of go in the top of the non-February pile. And I think that'll be nice to finish. Oh, yeah, my friend gave me some bras and said, "I reckon you could use these?" And I said, "You're right." And I quite like the idea of taking this black bra and this one which looks like it's been eaten in the washing machine and putting it over the top. Yeah, I think that could stay in the UFO pile for now. I think there's something quite interesting there. Actually, is there? Am I just thinking it because I don't want to do any textile waste? I mean, that's what it would be like. It is interesting. Oh, it does look cool. Okay, I was talking myself out of it, and now I'm talking myself back into it. Yes, I like it. I'm going to do it, and it won't take very long, and I don't need to think about it if I just get around to doing it. Finish it February. Yes. Easy. What have we got going on here? I think this is another mending project, I suspect. These are some leggings that I extended. Over here. These were too small, so I made them bigger. They also had some holes in them, so I thought they're probably not going to be very good to donate. So these are actually some of those long stripy socks that you can buy that go over the knee. Why are they in here? I added pockets, and they're big holes in them or something. And the pocket is the foot of the sock. It's silly. Oh, there's some holes by the crotch. Yes, that will take about 2 seconds. I am lightly in a sewing mood at the moment, so I can deal with that pretty quickly. I don't think there are any other holes over it, so it's just a little bit of mending. Yes, that's not just finish it February, that's like finish it this afternoon. Depending on how long it takes to film this bloody video, because there are so many whips in here. Oh, you thought 21 was bad. Yes. Finish it February, easy peasy, a little bit of mending. I think this one's going to go onto the frogging pile. I had a go at making leather gloves. I need to try and make fabric gloves first. Working with leather is hard. I do not have good glove making abilities. I do like the idea of making some leather gloves, but this is just going to go back into stash. That is easy, discard. I might do more leather working projects in the future, but that's an easy one, I think. Okay, I think this is the one that I found, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know. I think this is probably going to be on the probably on the frogging it pile. Okay. Oh, and I haven't even got that far into it. So I have these balls of orange, and I'm fairly certain it's wool based on the way that it's been, like, based on the way it feels and how it's worn and stuff like that. And I can't remember what I was making. I get the feeling from thinking about it I was making like a little cape or capelet. God, that's so tight. Okay, I can see why I stopped. Because whatever decreases in the lace meant that it made it really tight to work. So it's got a lace repeat. I think it's a capelet. I guess it could be a way to start a jumper where it's like that crescent start. I've seen Wool Needle's hands doing that. Yeah, this is going to be an easy discard actually, much like the leather gloves. I'm going to pull it off the needles now. I'll ask my bestie if she wants orange wool. I feel like she won't, especially in this slightly less than perfect condition. So I may have a go at dyeing it, but either way, we are reclaiming the needles out of this and all of the appropriate safety pins. This is easily a frog. I'm going to try and do like some really nice pulling the needles out content, but I can't even because it's so tight, which is why I didn't want to do it in the first place. That's why I put it down. I get the feeling I started this while I was quarantining with COVID in 2021. Needle is out in one direction. Okay. I'll work out what to do with the yarn later. I can dye it. Why are you caught on the safety pin? Okay, we've reclaimed some safety pins. We're reclaiming out the needles. It's like a pair of trousers situation, isn't it? They're attached. But historically they never used to be, much like trousers. Because you used to tie trousers on. And historically knitting needles have always been straight. I don't think I'm even going to try and incorporate this into my swatch project. Because it's so small and like annoying. I think I'm just gonna wind it and see what I end up doing with the yarn. So I reclaimed the project basket as well, which is nice. Nice to have all of that back into circulation. The project bag's just a little knitted basket. Does it have a crocheted base? I gave it a crocheted base. So, because making a disc in crochet is very easy and a lot of work in knitting. We'll build double points. And it's like basket style bag with this colour work around. So reclaim that back out into project stash. Frog you. I won't frog it all on camera. I think it'll take too long and I've got so many things to go through and I'm definitely losing energy with them. Okay, don't do it. Put it down. Cool. Put it all back in the freaking project basket, won't we? And then that will help to tidy it up. Okay. Easy peasy situation there. Oh, you. Oh, this is a corset that I bought, or like a corset top. And it's from one of the nasty fast fashion sites, and I really enjoyed wearing it. And it's made of some fake leathery stuff, which is now peeling, as it's wont to do. So my plan with this was to make a pattern off it, and either recover it, keeping the lining, because the lining's a different fabric, or like, I guess it's just the back of the fabric. So either just to cover it, basically make another layer to go over the top, or to fully take it apart, take a pattern off it, and then remake it, which is kind of more what I'm inclined to do. But yeah, still happy to do that. I still like the idea of keeping it that way because there's no good place that it can go to. I can't just put the fabric in the stash because it's like nasty. I guess I could just take all the hardware off and then throw away the wilting fabric, but I'm still happy with that. I'm not planning on doing that anytime soon, so that's going to go into the like slower pile of stuff to do. But yeah, that's in and that's done. What are you? I mean, that's got a sleeve shape to it. Weird gathered sleeve head. Mystery. Maybe you're attached to something else. Obviously, keep everything very organised in your like pile of stuff that hasn't gone. If I can't find what that's attached to, it scraps and it'll just go back in stash. Oh, this is my other glove. Stash. I think this is a choker I was trying to make based on a picture that I'd seen where it like looked really cool. But I think that the leather was wetted and stretched and stuff, and I didn't know how to do that, so I was just sewing it to a piece of velvet ribbon. This is going into, I guess, frogging. I'm gonna undo it and then put everything back in stash. So, oh look, I have a frogging basket now. That's what that is. But I'll take it apart so I can reclaim the materials out of it. But then yeah, that's going in stash. I'm not gonna finish that. Sit with the fleece. I don't know what you're from. Like I actively felt myself trying to throw this away. So I didn't have to think about it. I had the idea of making a lacy overdress, and then I didn't have enough fabric to make the skirt, so I've made the top. Yeah, it's quite a basic top. I like the idea of making the skirt for it. So I am going to probably see what I've got in stash that I might be able to make that out of. I might have found some more lacy fabric or be able to find something different to finish that with, but yeah, I still like the idea of finishing that. Oh, and this is the pattern for it. I think I'm going to put that back in my stash. This is making such a mess, I have regrets. What are you part of? Yeah, everything's just very, very normal here. Let me pick up next. What are you? Oh, it's one of those silly little quick sewing machines. Yeah, it's daft. I kind of like it. I'm gonna, because these are the things that Annika Victoria was trying them, but they're not very good for anything other than if you're like doing a fashion show and you need to fix something really quickly. So I'm gonna offer this to my boss for any circus related costume mishaps as a kind of quick, essentially fabric and thread stapler in order to be able to hold stuff together. So I'm going to offer it to my boss for that, and just kind of see if she wants it. I don't know what I'll do with it if she doesn't want it. Worry about that when I get there. Pockets? Don't know what for. Join the mystery pile. Ooh, this one's an easy one. So I started making one of the jumpers from a book where I'm making jumpers that I made some jumpers out of. So this is A Most Elegant Sweater. It's from the Roland Welch book of Norwegian knitting 90 years later. This was an absolute headfuck to try and be getting my head around. This is how much of the sleeve that I have done, but I like the idea of doing it stained glass, so I've got black and then a variegated blue that I'm using as my like stained glass for it. I am going to start working this flat and I'm going to do it in pieces. I've learnt so much more about jumper knitting and what I like, and I am just going to do that, and we're all just going to have to live with it. The fact that it's going to have a seam going up it, even though it's supposed to be worked in the round. And I'm going to work the whole thing flat, so we don't even need to worry about any tension issues. Not that I would, because this was really messing me up, and when I do stuff like that flat, it makes loads of sense. So yes, there's no like immediate desire to finish it, but when I work through some of the other whips and I'm ready for some more colour work project, I will be ready for that. Ooh, cannot decide. So I got the bra for this and they didn't have any matching pants in my size. So then I was like, I'll make them. So these are completely brand new. I'm going to see if I can donate them. Yeah, I'll see if one of the charity shops will take them because they still have the sticker on and stuff. And they have never been worn, so I'll see if the charity shop will take them. Because I thought it was going to be a really easy job to resize it and just take in the sides, but it's not. If the charity shop won't take them, then I might bring them back and have another go. But yeah, I'll ask. That was just another piece of pattern that I threw. Oh look, another pair of pants that's just got some mending to be done on it. Yes, I will fix. At some point I'll make a whole load of pants and I'll think it through and I'll perfect the design. And that can just be part of that. This is a spider bag. It's like a trick-or-treat bag. You know what? You can leave my life. It's just little spiders. And I got it and I thought, oh, maybe I'll line it properly and make it nice and stuff. But it's not even that great. It's fine. It's new. I bought it in Poundland. I don't need it. It can just go. It can go. It's time. You're a great idea. And I don't need you. We have a random ball of grey, and I'm wondering if this is supposed to be in this bag. I think the bit on the cuff there was grey. What are you, mysterious thing with a crochet hook hanging out of you? Genuinely have no idea. Oh, I remember. I'd seen a dress. It's not even a crochet hook. It's a. I think I crocheted it though. Yeah, it's a dress that was like a series of circles and then like squares and stuff. It was like a 60s mod dress. Yeah, I don't really wear white. This is just going to go into the swatches project. It was being a pain to make and it wasn't very fun. And I wasn't having a good time with it and it wasn't coming out right. So yeah, goodbye. But it's going to go, because it's still quite sort of completed pieces, and it'd be more of an effort to frog it than just use it in something else. So yeah, that's just going to go into a blanket I'm making for Ziggy, who by the time I present it to them will have forgotten about it once more. Because, oh, sorry, I was going to make you a top, but I've decided to do a blanket instead. Like, oh, what now? This, I think, can just go in the bin. This is an old piece of circus bunting. I had the nice idea to do them as... to turn it into something and use it as plan, but I hate plan. So I'm just abandoning that as an entire project. That's just a remnant, which is yet to go... which is now in the bin. Okay, I think this is an inherited whip. Label. Yeah, this is inherited whip. So Bestie was making this. I'm going to put it into the whip project. I've got the rest of the yarn for it. It's on a cone. But yeah, I was thinking like, oh, I could finish it. I'm not gonna. I'm just going to add it to the project. It's nice. She did good work. I think we can keep that good work, but we don't need to continue with that. I don't have the pattern. I don't know what she was doing. Oh, I should have brought a drink up. So this, I think it's going to go into stash. This was a practice for making whips, like a whip braiding project. So this is like the shape of core for making whips, and then like I'd cut pieces to try and learn the braiding technique. I'm just playing around now with actual full-size whips. I've got quite a lot of like roper's core, so I'm not worried about like using it, and I'm trying different wrapping techniques. So this is going to easily go into stash, but going and picking this up from Facebook Marketplace, she was like, I'm not about, but my dad will be there. So I went and met this person's dad, and I don't know what it is about my face that says tell me about the music career that you had in the 70s/80s, but yeah, he had a #1 record in 1977. It's Cliff, the guitarist for a band called Honky. I looked it up. It was fine. But yeah, that was quite fun. What are you? Mysterious circular knit? Or crochet piece? Ooh, this is another bit from the... I think it's another bit from that same dress, but maybe with the yarn attached. Okay, that explains what the random white balls of yarn were. They were for this. Let's wind up what's not already attached. And we'll just add that, as we did before, to the little whips pile. I'll work out tying it off at that point. That's just going to go into that swatch project. Whips pile swatch project. Oh, I was wondering where you went and if I would find you again in here. And I did. I started doing like a knitting project. I was making one of the pussy hats and I was doing it as a knit log on my YouTube channel a while ago. And this is how far I got. Yeah, let's finish that. I don't know if I'll vlog it. But yeah, I'm going to finish that and then donate it. That's easy. It's going to be like a nice simple project. I'm making a pink hat. For no good reason. Just to do it. Yeah, I'm not going to keep vlogging it. So I might in fact delete the old videos on my channel. Yeah, I'll consider it. I think I just want to finish knitting it and donate it. I think that's going to be the best for everybody. What are you and why are you here? Are you more pockets? Was I just making pockets for some reason? Do not know. Do not know. We're nearly at the bottom. Not far from it. What are you? Black 4-ply yarn. Knitting. Was I having a go at knitting a parasol? I think I was. I don't know. This is lace. This is just some lace on this big cone of black. I think I would rather have a big cone of black than try and work out what you are. So you are definitely in the frogging. Yeah, I was going to say frogging or attaching it back. I think I'm just going to frog it. I'm going to frog it and wind it back onto the cone. Easy peasy, reclaim the needles. Nice. A pair of socks that probably need mending if they're in here. Yeah, a little bit of mending to do. That is just part of the mending pile. I don't know. There's so many little random bits of balls of yarn. Oh, look, a brolly. And a brolly that I bought, and I had the idea of like fixing up and making it nice. Maybe I still will. Not sure. You can stay, I think. I think I had the idea of adding lace to it like I did with another umbrella. Maybe that was even the lace to go over top. This is another one of these UFOs, which I've inherited, and it's got the yarn, but the yarn is nicer. Let's have a proper look at you. Can you tell that I'm tired and bored of doing this? If I was a better YouTuber, I'd take a break. So we've got some pieces that have been completed. So I still think this is going to be an interesting mystery workout project. So this looks like, show you the right side, this looks like a front. It's like a bit of a cardigan front. And a back. So I think this is a back of a cardigan and one of the front pieces, and then a start of the other front piece maybe? Or a sleeve? Or maybe it's just sleeves? Or maybe they could be sleeves? I don't know, because it's quite narrow. Is this a cardigan? Does this match? Yeah, it matches. I think I'm going to finish it. I like the idea of finishing it. I'm not going to finish all of her abandoned whips, but I think this one I can, and then we'll see how it looks and who it fits, because it's quite a nice colour scheme for both of us. So we'll just see. I can't really tell from that. I think it's going to be a bit, it might be a bit big for me and a bit small for her, and then it gets given away to a third party But yeah, I think it'd be easy enough to copy, and then I'm emotionally getting myself off Sleeve Island, especially for knitting. Other projects are in here. There are a couple. I wasn't expecting this to be so densely packed. There's all the random bits of yarn. What are you? Oh, this was my attempt to make socks out of fabric. You can just go back in the stash. This is a pair of pants that need some mending. Let's go in the pants pile. There's some other random bits of... there's another random balls of yarn which aren't attached to anything. I think we are down to the final project. Yeah, there's some other little scrappy bits. I think that was part of the glove project. I was attempting to make them out of fabric. Nope. Yeah, so the only other... Oh, I've got two more in here. One of them are these socks, which I bought, and look how cool they look, until you stretch them around your foot, at which point they go. I think I'm just going to wear them as socks. They could just go. I was thinking that I might be able to make them something more practical, but I think they're just going to be socks. It's a very shit Etsy purchase, and I have regrets. So the only other thing that I've got in here is this ridiculous little Irish lace crochet project, which was for making really ridiculously stupid napkins. I bought the mercerized cotton, didn't know what to use it for, so I'm doing this, and this is going to be the last complicated thing, because I've done this much of this little thingy, and it's kind of so much that I don't want to just abandon it, and like the work in it is so good and the techniques were also interesting. I have long lost sight of the pattern. It is a Project Gutenberg, so it is possible I would be able to find it again. But yeah, really cool, really complicated. Kind of is all based around like picots and stuff. Yeah, I've talked myself into it. I'm going to keep going with this. I'm going to use this stupid little hook. And I've got my napkins ready. I've got all the fabric cut and hemmed and sorted and stuff. And I've got I know what I'm doing. I need to just refine the pattern, and then the emotional fortitude to sit down and work with a possibly less than 1 mil crochet hook. Okay. Hardcore. I'm gonna go and take a million breaks. I still need to properly clear this out because it's just now full of random bits of wool. But yeah, I think we're in a much better position. How many projects is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So many. I'm not picking apart all of the piles. There were so many. So I've got my little Finish It February pile, which is mostly sewing. I can add this. This can be a Finish It February. Whether I vlog it or not, I'm going to finish it. And yeah. Whew, fed a lot of rubles in that dead rat. See you later.